So I'm back today. This is Matt. He's 42 years old and he's bothered by under his eyes. I'm going to start with a cheek restoration. I'm going to follow it up with an under eye restoration, starting with Defyne and then Classic Restylane under the eyes. Here we go. Using Restylane Defyne here. Here's a poke. So this first step here is I'm restoring the malar fat pad, the deeper one. We're going to hear some crackling and gurgling. That's normal. Matt's also been instructed to let me know if he feels anything electrical or any intense burning, because both of those would be unusual. So as I'm pushing the product there, he can feel a little pressure, maybe a little bit of burning. There's some lidocaine in the syringe, but it's a really tolerable procedure. So I'm going into the deeper layers there. I'm going to come up in this little direction right there. And it's important to get a cheek restoration done before I start doing his eyes, because this is actually going to help to support this skin up there. Good, you're doing good, Matt. Feeling where the hole is. Up there, good. That's feeling, looking really good. All right. Okay, needles out. I like to hold some good firm pressure there. That way if anything's bleeding under the skin, that's going to stop that. And I'm also feeling the filler. I want to feel if there is any holes or gap in that cheek restoration. And I'm just going to continue holding this just a little bit. Nice and still, Matt. Focus on your breathing. Here is a poke. I'm going to fill that in a little bit more. Fantastic. Okay. Going to hold some little pressure again. Now that that cheek has been filled in, I'm going to switch products. I'm going to take my Classic Restylane and now go directly under the eye there. You see this little orbital ridge right here where this sunken is? That's where I want to put the filler. This is where that retaining ligament is. It's called the orbicularis ligament, and it's like a little hammock under there. And now that I've supported it up with the cheek restoration, now I can put that in there and have that sit real nicely so it's supported from underneath. All right, Matt, go ahead and close your eyes. I can see the vessels, which is great. I also started off by doing a little AccuVein and also checking to see vascularity. So here we go. Here's a poke. I pull out the skin because I want to go underneath those vessels. I'm taking this really slow, methodical. Now I'm aspirating. That's pulling back the syringe just to make sure I'm not directly in any vessel. Now when I put the filler under there, all I have to do is put just a tiny little bit of filler along that. So there we go. The majority of the filler is in the cheeks because those fat pads are way bigger than the little tiny fat pad that sits along that ligament. That's the first poke. I'm going to do a couple more pokes. I'm going to come all the way along that orbital ridge. Good. Doing great, Matt. Here's my second poke. Almost done with this side. You're doing great. Bring it a little towards me. A little bit more right there. Here's a poke. I have to be below the muscle, so I'm along the periosteum, which is the bone. I have to be below the thin muscle around the eye. There we Very good. If filler is not put at the right depth and it's brought too surface, or it's too close to the surface of the skin, it can actually clog the lymph system right here and make it look puffy. So the dermal filler has to go below the delicate muscle around the eyes. Fantastic. I'm going to start now on his right side, and we're going to start with a cheek restoration using the other half of the Defyne. Okay, close your eyes. I'm feeling right where that groove is. It's right where this malar fat pad is. There's a deeper one and there's a more medial one. So I want to fill all the way down to the bottom there. That's what I need to fill up. Okay. Here we go, Matt. Stay nice and still. Here's a poke. Good. Focus on your breathing. Good job. We can see as I'm injecting that that's just filling in nicely. So now that I'm gonna fill that. I've got a little bit of that in. Now I can still fill a hole right there. I'm gonna go up and put some of it right there. That feels good. I'm gonna blend this out a little bit right there. Okay. And just hold pressure now. Still a little gap right there. I can feel a little one right there. So, visually, if I'm just looking at that, that looks nice and smooth. The problem, if I don't fill in these gaps though, as this settles, the skin will concave again. So I've really got to have this supported up to be able to allow that filler to sit under the eyes nice and smoothly. So, okay. So right here and right there. Here's a poke. He's bleeding a little bit, so I'm just gonna hold pressure for about 30 seconds. And then this cheek restoration's done on both sides. Then the last part of this video is I'm just gonna come under the orbital ridge. One of the things I wanna point out while Matt has his eyes open is that he does have a little extra skin and a little extra fat pads up here, so it makes it kind of push out. And that's really common for men and women to have that. What I'm doing is softening this transition here. We don't want the filler up in there. That can make that actually look worse because it'll draw water in there. So all we're doing is right in here. So I just wanted to point that out on camera. Okay, so go ahead and close your eyes. And I'm gonna start a little bit further in and then I'll work my way out. Okay, focus on your breathing. There's a vessel right there. I'm gonna pull this out. Here's a poke. Good. Carefully pushing the product in and just laying a little aliquot of the filler in that space. Immediately holding pressure, so if there's a vessel that I hit, I don't want him to get a black eye, so I put a little pressure. Okay. Now I'm going to come right here, do the same thing, poke, real steady hand here. Aspirating, I'm pulling back the syringe, making sure I'm not in a vessel, and just put another little aliquot right there. Okay, same thing, I'm gonna hold some pressure. really good. Now with Matt's particular issue here, not only does he have the volume loss in the what we call the tear trough, but it actually comes around to the completely around the orbital ridge. So I am, like I did on the other side, this lateral portion, I'm going to come and put some volume restoration in there as well. Now this is a little tricky because right here where I need to be, there's a vessel. So I'm going to take this at a little bit different angle here. Here's a poke. Below that, so now I'm going to put it a little bit right there. Good. Great, we're almost done. Okay, I'm feeling it to make sure everything feels nice and smooth in there. All right, Matt, one more poke. Here it is. All right, finito. Matt will have some swelling tonight and tomorrow morning. He'll be instructed to drink some water, take some Tylenol for tenderness, continue to avoid vitamins and aspirin-containing products. And each day gets a little bit better. We'll bring him back in 3 weeks for the final video. Matt, you can open up your eyes. Your eyes might feel a little numb. There's numbing in the syringe, and that can sometimes make your eyelids feel a little numb. Okay. How's everything feel?
Feels good.
Awesome. All right, now it's all about time.